Hey you guys, who's on? Let's wait for a few more to get on. So, for those of you just hopping in, hello, welcome, good evening. So I'm Ange, founder of Hol Fit. I'm a holistic health and business coach, and I lead a global wellness community of people who are empowering themselves with tools and information to live a healthier life. And so I just wrapped up. For those of you that are just getting started, hi, thanks for the love. I just wrapped up a whole day of calls with women. I do this actually most days. Hey girl. I do this, most of my days are spent talking with women as they are starting to build their own business, stepping into the shoes of being an entrepreneur for the first time, following the pull to be more of a guide in the world, to share their gifts with others, and to really ultimately just help other people who may be struggling with things that they themselves have learned, in their own life. And that's naturally what we're drawn to. So I've just had this, reoccurring pattern come up as I've been talking with a lot of women over the last few months as they've started their business. And what I've seen a lot of is, and again, I don't work with a lot of men. I actually purposely want to work with women. I love working with women, specifically mothers, okay? Especially those moms who are looking to follow their calling and maybe not go back to a job, because that is in fact my story, right? So I left the corporate grind to start creating my dream life for myself, for my kids, for my family, to live unconventionally. So I love to help women with that because I've experienced that for myself. And so something that continues to come up during mentor calls, and I do have a feeling this might be more of a gender specific issue for the girls, okay? I notice that women really struggle with owning it, with just taking what they know to be their gift and what they're being called to do, and just start sharing that with the world and standing in confidence and with conviction about what they know to be true. And a friend of mine posted something earlier. It was somebody who is a 23-year-old entrepreneur. She owns a juice company, and she posted this, thing that went kind of viral on Facebook that says, mentorship is not really needed. Like, you don't really need to have a mentor. And it caught my attention because I am one of those, maybe I'm part of a small club of people who don't feel as though they need mentorship. I'm very driven. I don't need somebody to tell me how to do something, when to do it, or how to do it. I'll do it. I'll figure it out. I'm very solutions focused. And so I maybe am one of those few people that I'm very much a self-starter. However, what I know I have as a gift in serving other women is really to cheerlead them sometimes at that point in life when they maybe feel like they don't have everything they need to start, when in fact they do. And so I just, I wanted to pop on here before I wrap up my day. I've actually got the kids in the tub. I came into my office because I was just kind of having this download of, I want to encourage you that you have everything you need to go out there and serve on a high level. Because every one of you, and I think we probably have a lot of women on this scope right now, every single one of you has a unique gift and a life experience and a story that would, change the world if you were to build a business model around it. You have so much to give. You do not need somebody to tell you how to do it. Sometimes it's very helpful to learn from somebody who has some skin in the game, who has, gone out there and has maybe navigated the path. But the reality is, you have everything you need to do the exact same thing because you have an experience that no one else has had. And guess what? You can build a whole business and a whole life around that specific lesson, that value that you have to serve. Awesome. Well, I just left the kids and I'm like, okay, I got to go share this because I feel this over and over coming up in conversations where, I will remind the women that I'm talking to on the phone or mentoring that, you're building a story right now because you're scared to be epic. You're scared to be awesome because you know you are. You know you've got a story that could, my kids are screaming. You know you have a story that could change the world. If you could package it in such a way that you would attract the people who need to hear your message. Okay? That's the key. You need to be honest and express your beliefs about the world. Hey Chris. You need to be so clear about that when people come to your website or are on your Facebook page or look at your picture on Instagram, they know what you're all about. They know what you are so passionate about because you live it. And that's what, for those of you that are in, for example, the direct sales industry, this is so common. People can sniff out people who are just selling something versus somebody who lives the life because they've learned things along the way. And it has led them to get behind something in sales, for example. Those are the people that are successful because they're so clear on why they're doing something that when people land on their page, they're like, I get it. I get you. I am you. I want to be part of what you're doing. And I talk about this a lot with my wellness team. I'm a huge fan of Start With Why by Simon Sinek. Excuse me 1 second. Yes.
Can you get the water warmer?
I will. Okay.
I'm freezing cold.
Okay. I'll be right. You can turn it on if you'd like.
No, I can't.
Okay, I'll be right there. Okay? I'll be right there.
I'm so freezing.
Anyway, I'm probably gonna have to wrap this up. But the thing is, just know with confidence that you have a message that the world needs. You just need to be more honest about it. You need to be honest about your beliefs so that you attract people who need what you have to share. And if you're in an opportunity that allows you to build a life around that, bingo. If you have hopped into some sort of a vehicle that will allow you to take who you are and take it on a bigger level, that's the key. All right. I'm going to take you guys with me while I go put some warm water in the tub because I want to keep talking about this. If any of you want to talk more about this, throw some questions up on the wall. What stops you from going big, from owning it?
Get out of the way, Emma. That's cold water.
It'll get warmer. This is the life of a mom, right here.
And then they're going to get all the chicken here.
Fear of success. Okay, so that is a big one. I want to talk about that for a minute. Fear of success, fear of being judged. Ooh, okay. So the thing is, let me come into the light here. If you have a fear of being judged by people, it's because you're judging yourself. Because you will always give out what you are actually putting on yourself. And that's a form of limitation that is holding you back from going big. Absolutely. Fear of not having the right answers. I need to write these down. You guys come back, put these back up if I don't target it. But fear of having the right answers. There's another good one to explore. So I myself am a recovering perfectionist. I spent so much of my life thinking I had to have all of the answers. And guess what? Vulnerability is the new black. If you can be more honest with people, and this is why I love things like Periscope and Instagram, if you can just live in a way that shows people that you're not perfect and that you don't have it all figured out, but you're willing to put yourself out there and you're willing to share what you've learned because your heart is to serve, you will be successful. People do, you know what? Perfect is so boring. People don't want to see the perfect images and the perfect websites and the perfect put together everything life anymore because guess what? That's not life, and those people actually aren't happy. Those people don't exist. And so fear of not having all the answers is actually a blessing. I'm going to turn this water off. All right, let's go. Keep going. What else holds you back from going after it? How many of you are in an opportunity right now? Yes, Brene Brown is wicked. I love her. How many of you are in an opportunity right now where you know you've been not going all out and where you know you could do so much better? Perhaps you could grow, a larger team. Perhaps you could increase your reach globally if you got more clear about what you're doing and who it's for. All right, well, we need to have a call. You girls are on my team. The thing is, like, really, why can't you be just as successful as the next girl? Why can't you, like, why not you? What's holding you back? And honestly, sharing from personal experience, aside from my health coaching background, everything I do online, I taught myself on YouTube. We live in such a great day and age to be able to just empower ourselves with information and craft our story, and be creative. And if you don't know something, if there's a skill set holding you back, then commit to learning it. If that's what's standing in the way of you going to the next level or hitting that next rank or attracting that next key person into your business, learn it. Like, look at different areas of your life where you need to go pro in and become an expert in those areas. But, there's so many things that we hide behind sometimes. And again, if this is hitting home with any of you, trust me, every time I have a call with somebody, this is like the number one thing. Yeah, Nicole. So having to go back, trying to balance mamahood, full-time career, and rocking your biz. So this is another piece, that definitely holds people back, because real life, you obviously have commitments, and sometimes opportunities come into your lap at the busiest of times when you can't quite dedicate all the amount of time you'd want to your dream, right? And so there does come that point. Jim Rohn talks a lot about this, where he said oftentimes you're building your dream life very part-time while you're still in your full-time commitment. So the most important thing, in fact, the busiest people in the world are the most successful at starting another project or new business, because they are so used to being present with their time and owning their time. And, that would be my challenge to someone who, is experiencing the same thing that Nicole shared. You really need to take inventory of your time and look at, where are those time wasters? There are things that we do in our day and in our life that, we do for just to top up our soul a little bit, whether that be watching Netflix at night or reading a magazine or whatever. But there's always opportunities to refine and say no to things. And that will, as you continue to grow, as a woman entrepreneur and in your business, you will get better and better at saying no to those things that don't serve you anymore. What else do you guys got? What else do you feel has held you back in the past? Let's do some quick Thursday night coaching. Okay, so yeah, you know what? That's common too. Sometimes you have so many things that you love, and it's hard to know what to spend time on. So I would say treat your loves, look at the things that you love to do and figure out a way to make things mesh together. So one of the things I love about the industry I'm in network marketing, is that what I do as a business is just an extension of who I am. So our whole life is sales. Every interaction we have with people, we are selling ourselves. And for those of you that are, entrepreneurs, hey girl, you can go onto my Catch channel to catch the recording. It'll be on there. For those of you that are entrepreneurs, that's what you want to make sure you have gotten behind. If you're in sales, or if you have services that you're offering, it needs to be super authentic to who you are, so that when you're out just living life and having conversations with friends and family, you're making sales, you're making deals in an easy way, because it's just who you are. All right, what else? Have you guys found have been blocks in your business in going big? There's a great book by Tara Moore called Playing Big. I recommend it for all women, because, it's interesting. I was talking with my mom about who I was as a child over the weekend. We were visiting. And I said to her, we moved a lot when I was a kid. And when I was a little girl, we would move to different neighborhoods, and it seemed like there were never little girls for me to play with. So I grew up, and every time we moved, it would be a street full of boys. And it was interesting, I guess, how that shaped me. Growing up, I never felt like I couldn't be one of the boys, that I couldn't play sports, that I couldn't, sign up for things that girls typically wouldn't. I always felt like an equal, if not better. I always felt like I could do everything the boys could do. but better. And as I grew up, that mentality, it clearly became part of who I was, to the point that when I was an adult, when I was starting my own business, I've actually never struggled with that feeling of like, why not me? If I was looking at somebody who is successful in something that I would love to be successful in, instead of wasting time being envious or jealous, I would look at them and think, what are they doing in their business, in their craft that I can learn from? I would take them as inspiration, and I would never, for too long, let my energy go to this place of, oh, why not me? I would try to reframe it and look at somebody who's been successful and think, what did they do and what do I need to do to duplicate that? And if that meant I needed to teach myself some skills, then I would. But that's my encouragement to you tonight. I won't make this like a super long scope or anything, but I just feel like you need to look at areas of your life that you're not successful in and ask yourself, why not? Like what's holding you back? I'm doing, a refresh on a Tony Robbins program right now, 30 Days of Personal Power. I'm doing it with a couple of girlfriends. And one of the things he talks about in the program is the only reason that we ever actually take action on something is because it is either going to bring an increase in pleasure or a decrease in pain. We rarely ever act when something makes us feel neutral, right? So one of the things that Tony Robbins really recommends is if you are having a tough time changing in a certain area, it's likely that you are feeling way too neutral about it, or you have built a story in your head. Yeah, I'll come right back to that in a second. Okay, you've built a story in your head that attaches fear to the process of change, whereas if you reframe it and actually feel how much more painful it is to not change or to not go after that next level of success, that will make you act. If you can actually think, and one of the main reasons people get involved in, for example, network marketing is because they ask themselves that question: if I do nothing different, will I be happy with my life 5 years from now? How does my life 5 years from now feel? And if that scares somebody, that's usually enough to make them make some changes now. So I want to come back. I'm not sure who asked the question, but somebody said something along the lines of, what do you do when you want to change who you are, I think? Or maybe it's along the questions of how to live a more authentic life. So, one of the things I do in one of my coaching programs, so it's a business mastery program for helping women develop their leadership. And one of the things we do in week 1 is we identify what a perfect day in the life looks like for you. And the reason I think that this exercise is important is because if somebody gives you a full day with no expectations, no commitments or responsibilities, what would you fill it doing? And in there is your authentic truth. So for me, if I'm given extra time with nothing to do, I'll have my head in some sort of a health book or in some kind of research or something, because to be honest with you, I could not work another day in my life and we would be financially set. I've built a very successful business. However, I will never, ever stop learning or sharing about how to empower homes and families to live healthier lives. I am so passionate about it that I will always be researching and educating on that. So the thing is, what is your thing? What is that thing that you would do for the rest of your life, even if nobody was asking you to do it or if you weren't even being paid to do it? Because in there, is probably your dream kind of job, right? What are some examples? What are some examples of things you guys would do given, a couple hours of free time, assuming that your cup is filled? Obviously we might dedicate some time to the spa or go shopping or something like that. But what would you do if you literally didn't have a job and you just kind of wanted to fill some time? If the person that asked that question is still on, then comment below. Yoga, writing, oils, and nature. Yeah, awesome. So, how do you turn that into a business? You work on building your audience first, right? You maybe, if you don't have a website, you're not blogging, you build your audience, and then you lead retreats around those topics. There are so many women probably on the scope right now who are like, yeah, I'd love that. You know, that's what I do with my time off too. So you lead retreats and you speak to those people. There's always some kind of business opportunity. There's some kind of nugget within what we do with free time. You know, it's really a matter of like how successful and how busy do you want to be? And for some people, it just turns out to not be worth it, I guess. But at the end of the day, you know, you've got to figure out a way to change what you're doing right now if you don't love what you do. And it has to be something that involves your unique gifts. All right, I got to go get my monkeys out of the tub, but I don't know. I really just want to encourage you. I just want to encourage you guys to stop holding back and really stand with conviction. That's the big thing. You know, I was coaching a gal on the weekend. She leads education classes, and I noticed when she introduced herself to the class that her shoulders were all slumped forward, and she was using the word just a lot. Watch how often you use that word. You know, I just want to talk to you today. I just think that this is important, and you know, you're slouching over. The thing is, like, people, they will be drawn to you if you have confidence in what you're talking about, and conviction. And there's a reason, you know, that you're doing the work that you are. And if you're doing work that someone else is asking you to do, why are you still doing that? You know, why can't you know, dial yourself into an opportunity that allows you to build a business that reflects your work? Yeah, sorry is a big one too. We're very apologetic. Where I started to catch myself doing that a lot was with my husband. How many of you can relate to that feeling? Give me some hearts if you sometimes feel you put this total pressure and guilt on yourself to ask for help, especially around the house. That was my big thing. It's like, I don't want to put anyone out. So here I am running a very busy, successful business. And on the home front, I'm nervous about asking my husband sometimes to help me out more with certain things. And, you know, and I would be so apologetic, like, oh, I'm sorry. Would you mind getting groceries today for tonight's supper? Like, you know, you got to watch how you are with the people that you're closest with, because that's where, you know, the real payoff will happen. Is if you can monitor those kind of conversations, then they will trickle into your, you know, the outside world. Yeah. Sell without selling. How does one do that? Right? You have to believe in what you're doing. So it's like you detach yourself from the outcome or the sale. It doesn't matter, because you talk about it anyway, even if you weren't being paid. I think that's the difference. All right, any other questions before we wrap up? Thanks for hanging out for my download today. All right, you guys, have a great night. You can catch the recording on my Catch Me channel. I haven't been on here in a while, but love you too. Mwah. All right, good night.